When I was 7, I've undergone a procedure called a female genital mutilation. They had the women holding me. This procedure to control the girl, and they ensure the girl stay like pure, not being touched. And it was horrendous game. Aftermath, the trauma, nobody cared about the emotion. And that's why the children, or let's say the survivors of FGM, they tend to shut down. Like their brain, that numbness, the sensation they feel, is they shut down. Having that someone to come and say to you, are you okay? Guys, no, it never happened. Never happened. I actually saw a man who said that I am relieved that I married my daughter when she was 12. It's something unbearable.
What if the thing that you thought would define your life is the very thing that has taught you how strong you are? Today's guest, Howaida Abdalla, is a life coach, an author, an FGM survivor, and an advocate who knows exactly how it feels to lose your voice and find the courage to reclaim it. After experiencing the emotional impact of FGM and depression, Howaida faced a difficult journey of healing. Through faith, support, and choosing to keep moving forward, she began to rebuild her confidence and discover a new sense of hope. So today she uses her voice to remind women and survivors that they are not alone and that their past does not have to define their future. Through her writing, speaking, and coaching, Howaida creates a safe, honest spaces where women can be heard, rebuild their confidence, and begin to move beyond survival. Her message is simple. You may not be able to change what happened in the past, but you can change what happens next. So let's dive in.
So I came from a culture where girls, they get to, they don't have a voice at that time. So when I was 7, I've undergone a procedure called a female genital mutilation. Most of you may or may not know what FGM is. So FGM is a procedure that involves partial or total removal of female genital. And there is a 3 types to it. So type 1 is basically removing partial or total of clitoris gland. The second type is involving partial or total of clitoris glands and labia. The third type, which is the worst type that I had, is infibulation. This is basically where they narrow the vagina and leaving a small opening for urine or menstrual, like a period or something like that. And they just create that small seal. And that's the type that I actually had, because it's the worst type ever that anyone can have. And this is mostly being done by cutters. We call them cutters that actually got paid. So they pay to do this. And they've been there for generations. And so many countries around the world really perform this procedure until today, like Kenya, Ghana, Egypt, Sudan, Eritrea, even in the Middle East, everywhere, even in America, they do perform these kind of things, and it's acceptable in a culture. Of course, it depends from which culture to different, but mostly and highly being performed in Africa. So all when you go an African region. So when I was 7, I have undergone this procedure. I was naive. I was absolutely all I have in my mind is just playing, having like a game, go out with my friends. And one day I woke up in the morning. I remember my mom was telling me, okay, dress up. I said, for what? Because she woke me like at 7 o'clock in the morning. And at that time it was like holiday as well, like summer holiday. Normally that's when they tend to do as well. Like parents, they take the kids back home or something like that to get this procedure during summertime, because they have like time for the girl to heal and so on and come back and hush. But yeah, so at 7 in the morning, wake up and being told dress up. I said, for what reason? So you just dress up, go and take a shower and dress up. I said, okay. We grow up listening to elders, so whatever they say, I basically, we say yes without even questioning. Then I went, because I was like, our house is like 2, so there is a ground place and there is up. So I was sleeping in the second, which is the first floor. I came down, I saw there is a women there preparing a feast. They used to celebrate this as like a wedding. That's the thing. They celebrate it like a wedding. Like they bring a sheep, they sacrifice a sheep, and they even invite people, and they prepare foods, drinks, and have some laughters. Sometimes in some place dancing, music. And in my situation was, I came down and I saw, okay, there is a women there. Why the women there? Like, it was fascinating. Like, why 7 in the morning? What they do at that time, but like half 7, what they do. And I saw my dad bringing the stuff for the feast, basically. And she told me, you're gonna get the FGM. At that time, I don't know what FGM is. They call it in my country. I am from Sudan. It's called khitan. So of course the name is differ from different countries and how they call it, but we call it FGM, in Europe and so on. So, okay, we're gonna perform the khitan for you, and the lady will come in about 10 minutes. I said, what?
Wow.
I said, what? 10 minutes? She said, yes. So when I woke up at that time, they been prepared like a room for us. The room is clean, and there was like a bed sheet, there's like a nice scent on it. It gives you the vibe of, I don't know, something was off. It's nice, but you feel something is off, okay? Even the bed sheet is red. So they're doing that is because when the girls have FGM, some of them, they bleed, they bleed quite excessively, which is in my case as well. I did. So they have that bed sheet is red, so don't show, because if it's white or different color, that red will show. So I remember the lady came, and bear in mind, they do this at home, which is the worst thing. They do it at home without painkillers, without any anesthesia, without nothing. It's like you feeling like your skin is being ripped apart, okay, and you are still alive. Imagine somebody bringing, I'm sorry that I'm doing this, but that is exactly the feeling and it's a child as well. Imagine a child. It's something unbearable.
Wow. Sorry, I had to just interrupt you a bit. I'm actually feeling what you're saying, and my body is cringing. Because I didn't know that when they're doing these things, they don't use any, what you call them?
Nothing, no painkillers, no anesthetic.
Painkillers, anesthetic.
Yeah, anesthetic. Basically, that's when they numb the body. Nothing at all, or to give you something that will allow you, help you to tolerate the pain. Nothing at all. Imagine a 7-year child, sometimes 5 years, because it can start from 0. Even some people, few days, they get their child, undergone the FGM, and they do this all the time. So when the lady came in the room, I remember my sister being dragged, the first, at the beginning, and my sister was screaming. Like, as soon as I hear my sister screaming, I start feeling scared. I was so scared to the point where I was about to run away. I said to my mom, like, I'm running away. They had the women holding me. And do you know what the cruel is? When they was doing the procedure for my sister, because she gone first, I was outside by the door. So listening to everything. All I can see is hot water's going, inside and empty bucket going outside. That's because they try to control, and there is a lot of towels on the floor, just in case if blood, although the blood goes, in that towel, don't go like on the floor. You don't want to make the floor dirty. So that's how it is. And then when my sister done, then it was my turn.
Oh.
So I went there, and bear in mind, the medical stuff, it's not even called medical. So the equipment that the cutter use is not sanitized. So they've been using that for so many other girls. All they do, they dip it in a hot water. I don't know how they sanitize these equipment. Genuinely, I have no clue.
Oh, Howaida, Howaida, sorry to interrupt you. I've got a question.
Yeah.
Why do they carry out this procedure?
Great question. I was going to go with that.
Okay. All right. If you're going to cover on that, let me leave you to continue. Let me leave you to continue. Then you'll answer that later. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, no worries. So I'll answer you that before I move, on. So they do this procedure to control the girl, and they ensure the girl stay like pure, not being touched, and because they think is they're preparing her for her future husband. So basically is when the girl undergone that procedure, and when they perform one of these type, or the type 1, type 2, or type 3, they know that that girl is not going to be touched by any man except her husband. And if her husband, when they touched her and he found, okay, there is a difference there is nothing shot, there is nothing being told, they will know maybe the girls have been maybe sleeping with other men or something like that. But that is what they're actually thinking. They're protecting the girl's purity so they can make her look ready for her husband. I don't know if you can understand that, but that's like the way, which is absolutely wrong, by the way, Pansy.
Yeah.
It's absolutely wrong is how they actually doing it, and the way they actually thinking it, because the FGM is all culture based. It's not religion based. There is nothing in our religion saying the girls have to undergo this, procedure, because it's a very harmful. Women can lose their life. Children can die during this procedure.
Wow.
Small children. Actually, 3 months ago, there was a child, I think it's in Kenya or Ghana, in somewhere in Africa, died because of this procedure, and he was only 6 months old. They had to take that to court. So the craziness of this procedure and the misconception, or say the concept of, oh, we're going to do this so we can, number one, protect the girl, number two, belong in the community, because in the community, I remember if the girl reached 10, 10 years old, and she didn't have the FGM done on her, the entire community, they start questioning. They start pressuring the parents. You're reaching that age now. Why don't you think of getting the FGM done? Because that's how our ancestors done that. That's how our ancestors gone by, and it will protect your girl. You will know that the girl's not going to go around and do other shady stuff. It's crazy.
Oh gosh, I don't even know what to say, to be honest. I mean, I've heard of it, but I didn't really know exactly the nitty-gritty, the detail of what happens.
Yeah. It's all for the man, and I don't know why they do that. And some men don't even marry a woman in some cultures unless she had the FGM done on her.
Wow.
Like the first thing they ask. So that's the first thing they ask when they come to ask for the hand in marriage. Like, have they had that FGM procedure done? If it's yes, let's go with the marriage. If it's not, then do it. And then when she heal from that, then we're gonna, continue with the marriage. And do you know how I spoke, because I didn't get married yet. I always feel scared. The women who actually had this done on them, they had, like in Somalia, for example, they rape. Like actually when the man, like the first night when they get married, they get raped. They get ripped down there. I'm telling you, they get ripped when they, yeah. And after that first night, again, the man asked, his mom or some to get it again done, like suit, like, come on. Bring that needle, bring that thing. And it's crazy. It's crazy in some culture. It's absolutely
Are you kidding me?
I am not, Sanji, and I swear to God, it's not. In some country, a lot of, because I've been studying this since, like, I've gone through the FGM myself. I've been studied it in depth, and I was shocked in the amount, even in my culture, that's what they do as well. Sometimes when the girl, like when she get married, her first night, okay, slept with the man, and they rip her. And that's when they know, okay, she's pure then, in their words. And some men, they found actually that is like a pleasure when the girls get hurt and feeling that pain, if you know what I mean, like every time get like sewed and bring the needle and sew and go undergo again the FGM again.
You mean an adult?
Yes, it's like when they, how I'm gonna put this without actually being so imagine I've got married, okay, and the first night I slept with my husband, whatever, and then the pain, and they've not gone easy. Not all men gone easy in that area, and they don't have a conversation about this before the marriage to tell the man, because I know some people, they really understand it, because I have my friend who actually when her husband knew that she had this procedure, he said, I'm not marrying you until you get this undone. So he took her to the doctor to get it undone, to fix it. They say, God created you in a way. Why you changing God's, structure? Why? So I don't want you to get hurt. I don't want you to struggle, because she used to struggle so much. And I had this as well. When I had the FGM being done on me, I struggle with period every single day. Until today, struggling. The period seems so painful. I said to my mom, it's like, this is a giving birth. Like, if this is the pain of giving birth, I'm not having a child, because the pain is intolerable. No, it creates a trauma. It literally creates a trauma. I remember back then when they had it done, and they told me, like, oh, you've got to be brave. When I entered the room, they were shaming me, first of all, because I was 7. They think I was like big enough to not shout and scream like my sister out of pain. So I had to tolerate the pain. They cover my eyes with the like cloth that is like see-through. I can see exactly what the woman actually doing. And I can see like she's taking the thing and as in putting it there, and the blood, it was, I bleed excessively after it. And it took me a couple of weeks just to be able to come back and be able just to use the toilet. like that first week, and especially that first pee after the FGM is really sting. It's really sting. It's really painful. It's like having the first pee after giving birth. But this is completely different because the hole is just small like this. You won't be able to urinate in a normal way. You know, the pain is just untolerable. It took me like a whole week.
Wow. And how are they preparing the men for marriage? How are they preparing the men for the woman? Because it seems like it's just the girl child who's going through all this trauma, mutilation.
Yeah.
So what are they doing in terms of the men or the young boys?
The men in our culture and in Islam, they undergone also the FGM, but not as painful as the girl. That is in our Islam. So the men, they do that, you know, the family, they do that. But it's not as painful as a women. They don't bleed that much as a women. They don't, the pain that women go through is in a different level. A man, when they had the FGM, they can heal within a week. A woman needs to 3-4 weeks to be able to heal, like a mom, just to be able to walk. Because I remember when I had it, I couldn't walk, I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep, I couldn't urinate for a week. I was so damn scared to go to use the toilet. And I had to hold my pain to be able to not, because I can't, the pain, it created a trauma in my brain. And that's most of FGM survivors, you know, have that trauma of having, you know, seen the cutter with a big, and they never pay you. They just close your mouth, close the
Wow.
you know, the face, and then go with it. And there is 5 women. When I had this, there was 5 women in the room. All of them was holding me. They was holding me, all of them. And I was a child, 7 years old. So they want to ensure that the child not move so they can actually get her more. And it was horrendous painful. It was horrendous. I remember when they had the thing they put me, I bled so much. Like, they felt scared as well. So after that, they put me on a bed with that red cover sheets. I passed out for 5 minutes. Literally passed out. I couldn't. And what they tend to do after the FGM in my country is they tie the girl's leg. So they bringing a scarf or any cloth, they tie the leg just in case, because if the girl accidentally move her feet in a certain way while she sleep, that thing will open, and that means the cutter have to come again to do the same thing again. So it happened to so many girls. You know, my neighbor, in my culture, the girls that I knew personally. It's just something that is crazy. It's absolutely crazy. It creates trauma. There is a physical pain, emotional pain, mental pain. It gets to the point where from that day itself, for me, I lost that child, that inner child. I lost that innocent thing, that I lost it. And most of FGM girls who then, you know, survivors, they lose that child as soon as, because that's when they don't even start calling you like a child. Oh, she's a woman now. She's a woman now. She's still a child. She's still 6 years old. You're calling her a child, not a womanhood. So that is, they supposed to act like a woman from that day onward. Like, don't play like a children with children outside. Don't, you know, play with younger boys or so on, because that's what I've been told. Don't stay with men. If it's in the room, don't stay with men. They start they harm you before they tell you what other thing in the world they really can harm you, can protect yourself from that outside harm, which is crazy for me. Don't allow a man to touch you. So in my head, I would say, you've done already the harm. Do you think I'm gonna go and think and fetch and all that of the other harm? Of course not. It creates a trauma that is block the child brain from allowing anybody to touch, because if anybody touch, they fling. They absolutely just fling, and they don't want to be touched by anybody. And going to the doctors and getting a medical checks, that was one of the traumatic things that a child can go through, because that bring them again the day that they had the FGM, the moment that they had the FGM. It created a trauma, and the ironic is it's a generational trauma. So it does not only stop with her, it's going to carry on, because as girls, we haven't been taught how to stop that. Yeah.
And from the look of things, seems like no one really cares. They're more bothered about keeping the culture than the effect of the trauma.
In my country, Sandy, let me tell you, that's also, I laughed after that, is that's how they actually grew up, to suppress their emotions. They expected the girls get the FGM done, go through all that traumatic thing. It can take maybe an hour, 20 minutes done. But that aftermath, the trauma, nobody cared. Nobody cared about the emotion. They expect you to go out, play with your siblings, go to schools, come back, go with your life as normal, without you having a concern. And that's why the children, or let's say the survivors of FGM, they tend to shut down. Like their brain, that numbness, the sensation they feel, is they shut down. They completely shut down, because that's how we have been brought up, to just shut up and get on with your life. You're not the first person to get, to have it done. You're not the last person. So get on with your life and live your life and stop mourning. And in our culture, they hate girls to mourn, and they don't like, they expected them to be strong, always strong, share responsibilities at home, do the chores, clean, cook, and so forth. So having that someone to come and say to you, are you okay? That is never happened. Never happened. Heavy.
I'm kind of lost for words for now, to be honest. I'm really, really lost for words. And this is just showing how much of a generation that has been raised full of trauma. And can you just imagine the cycle? I'm just trying to picture the kind of cycle that is going around in this generation from generation, because trauma seems like what everybody knows. So who is going to be there for who? Because it seems like everybody seems to be traumatized. So my next question is, because you touched a bit on your childhood, and you started off, this whole experience started off at age 7.
At age 7.
And my first question is, what age do girls get married in your country? That's my first question. And then the next question is, I want to know is, what impact did this do for you? How did this impact the way you saw yourself growing up after age 7? Now from age 7, how did you start seeing yourself? But first and foremost, I want to know what age.
It
married.
Yeah, it depends. Some people, they get their daughters married at age of 12. Some of them are age of 13. Some of them are age of, I know some in a village, they married, I think, like at age of 10. Yeah, 10 years old,
And
a child. It's something.
and
Yeah.
this is legal.
Well, they don't see it that way. It is illegal. They made it illegal now, but they still do it. They still there is no form thing. They're gonna say, okay, they're gonna have the debate. Okay, our religion don't bind it, don't stop it, don't make it like it's a prohibited to do it. It is actually allowed to do it that, but they advise that the girl needs to be in an age where she can understand things, which is like 18 years old. That's the age. Now, not so many. That level has been down since I think 2015. The age, the marriageable thing is gone down. Now I think they marry girls like maybe 15 years old and above. They don't marry young because they're two children. They don't know nothing. They don't know what the word marriage is. They're playing, like they have like a dolls, they're playing, they running around, going to school and come back. So it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. There's a lot of changes that needs to be happened. And that's where I say there is a trauma. And the reason they do that is because they want to protect the girl. So I'm going to go back again to the reason that FGM actually being done, to protect the girl. So they think that, okay, if she married early, she will be protected. So, yeah. So she won't be going around wondering, okay, today I'm going to protect my child, so I'm going to get them married. I'm going to get them, to a husband, push them to the husband. And then that's it. I actually saw a man who said that I am relieved that I married my daughter when she was 12. He actually said that. So I'm relieved. I took that burden out of my shoulder. So it's like I'm relieved now. So like, she's your daughter. She's a child, 12 years old. You say, that's the mentality. I think it all comes to the mindset of the family, of the culture, of the community, of who says what. And when it comes to the culture, influence, in my culture particularly, there is a huge influence because men, they do have the power over women. I know it's wrong for me to say that, but that's exactly what it is.
That's the truth.
They actually they think like because they are providers, they're the protectors, and they give and all that, they look after the family. That's mean they have the right to do whatever they want to do when it comes to the woman. Like the woman have no voice at all. I have gone through that, I remember back then, but it changed, with my brother, but it changed because that's the mentality. How they actually raise them to think that way, to be able to control the woman at home. They say, if you can't control a woman at home, how are you going to control, your family? So they're starting with controlling even their sisters, their mothers. I see a lot of violence from youngsters, like 15 years old, hitting their mother and and his sisters just to say, I want to discipline them. I don't want them to go offline. Yes, and the father don't say anything. That's what really surprised me. They don't say anything. Huh. That's the power they do put in their hands, and they grow up with that power, with that thing. And when they grow up, the girls have no voice in the community.
Like seriously, I am tongue-tied. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like this is happening right now.
It's happening. It's still happening, and it will continue to happen, Sandy, unless they have that awareness and they have that education. Some of them, they're stubborn enough. They don't want to know. They just want to carry on with whatever the culture is. I say, it's our culture. It's our culture.
Yeah.
I said to myself, and I said to them, these cultures is being created by someone. It's not coming from God above. They made from someone. So if it's made by someone, it is changeable. It is changeable. You can change it. If something that does not really serve you or your family or help you protect your family in a way that is right way, throw it out of the window. Like, you don't have to listen. You don't have to say, okay, I have to today, I'm going to be protected. I'm going to go there and beat my. I've seen a lot of younger children, men, boys, they're not even men. They even hit puberty yet. They go and they hit their older, sisters. And there is a huge age gap. I was gobsmacked. I was absolutely shocked by that. And the fact that the parents don't say anything, that's what make it more not only viral, but they created that violence, and it dims the girls' light. The girls already went through the trauma of FGM. So automatically when the effect of FGM, when it comes to mental, it make the survivor disappear. Like, I'm gonna take myself an example, like what I've gone through, how is the FGM really affected me. Yeah. I started isolating from people, from a cheerful person who always smile, always laugh, play, have some laughter, to the person that completely disappeared. I had zero self-esteem, zero confidence. I have zero love. I don't even know what that word means. Like, what does that word mean? Because when we grow up, we're not accustomed, like our parents come and hug you or tell you, like, I love you or something like that. Now, my parents do that. Thank God. We build that relationship. But that's how we grow up back in Sudan, and in so many cultures as well. It's not only like in Sudan, in so many other countries and cultures, they don't have that connection. You don't tell, like, to a parent, don't tell a child, oh, I love you, or praise a child, well done. So I lost my self-identity. I completely become like, it's dull, like I have nothing inside, empty, completely. All I have inside me that it grew by the time is anger, frustration. The trauma hit me, the depression hit me. It hit me really hard to the point where I gave up on myself. I completely gave up on myself. All I was thinking about is, how can I die? I just want to die. I want to end my life. And at some point it came. I attempted. I was naive back then. So I took, I don't know, I don't want to get into detail in there.
Yeah.
But I almost attempted. And they had to take me to the hospital and they had to, like, do the wound. I haven't cut my wrist, thank God. It was like in my leg, But the doctor was actually sewing, or my wound, my skin, cleaning it. It was painful, but I felt nothing. I lost sensation. I completely lost sensation. I lost the pain. I become tolerant to the pain. In fact, it came time that I enjoyed the pain. And that is something that is absolutely done. So I lost identity. I lost everything, from self-love to self-esteem to the sensation, to disconnection and isolation. As a child, you should be going out playing with kids, not coming and just sit in a corner and just quiet, hush hush, like don't say anything. That's how I have actually, it become like a bub. I put myself in a cocoon, like a butterfly. I put myself in a cocoon, and I didn't allow anybody to enter for years.
Listening to you, and you are sharing your experience of when you attempted to take your own life, and you went to the hospital. The doctor did the procedure and you didn't feel anything. Like you said, at some point I was numb, I was, closed up to pain and all those things. And it makes me think, they say they are trying to protect the girl child by doing all these things. And hearing your story, I'm seeing that you had closed. You were used to the pain. You said at some point I was actually enjoying the pain. I think you said something like that, if my memory serves me right.
Yeah.
So this has made me think, right? They're saying they're preparing the girl child for marriage, getting her married, getting her off to get married at a young age. And with this kind of trauma, what could possibly happen, or what could be happening, is someone goes and gets married and they go through another trauma. They are abused. Everything happens to them in that marriage. And because they are emotionless, they're out of touch with their emotions, they're used to pain, they just go with the flow. Just like when you went to the doctors and you were not feeling the pain. So this can actually happen in a marriage, the place that they think they are preparing their daughter for.
It happens. There is a lot of abuse that happen in a marriage after that. They think, yes, we're preparing you for your husband and so on. And when they go there and the husband, that's when the parents say, that is between you and your husband. Whatever happened, we're not getting involved at all. Some they do, they do say, okay, we're not tolerating you, hitting my daughter. So I want my daughter back. Some parents, they say that is between you and your, and your wife. I'm not getting involved. I'm not getting anything. You two have close things, solve this together. And that's what become severe. The violence become very severe to the point where the girls either run away, or the man the girl maybe end up killing the man, or vice versa, or they end up cheating. A lot of cheating is happening, so that's the norm, that's exactly what is happening, from a trauma to another trauma. And some they've been, just when they have gone through that process and become numb to the pain, to whatever's happened, they shut down and so on, because they shut down the brain too. They're like, I'm not thinking about this, so what? And they just go on, so like they endure that pain. They live with that pain for such a long time. With with the man, with son, say, oh, he's gonna change. I don't care. I have my cousin that went through it, to the point where people start telling her, please leave this marriage. Please leave this marriage. And that's when her parents started getting involved, and they took her out of the marriage. But at that time, she couldn't care. That's how they actually preparing the girls to be, that they are destroying the girl life. And in some cases, there is, the girls become, infertile, which is they don't conceive. They have problem with their wombs as well, because that is what the effects, or they say the aftermath of the FGM. They will end up like losing the ability to give birth or have a child.
Wow.
And yeah, it's a lot of trauma. I almost had gone through it, thank God. For me, it created, because of that, I went through type 3. It created that small hole. My period didn't go as normal, like the blood don't go, it's all accumulated in one side. It become like a kidney by itself. and it started affecting my health. So I had to undergo like emergency surgery back in 2020 to get it removed. And then the doctor realized that there is more into this. It's not only just removal. There is something going on in here. So we need to have a surgery that can fix that area for you to be able to just be normal. She told me you need to sue the person who actually did this to you. It was ridiculous. It was 7 hours, I think, almost 7 hours surgery. And thank God I'm okay. So I came back okay. But there is so many women that they go through this horrific pain, every month with that pain. All they tell them, get a painkiller. And the thing is, when you go to GP, you go to hospital, you tell them, okay, I've went through that genital mutilation. There is no doctor will touch you. Because I've went, no, they don't touch. They say, okay, either you go to someone, to get it undone, or you go back home, or in my case, the nurse and the doctor tell me, okay, go back and get it undone. The nurse told me, okay, we can't touch you without, you might go and get married first, then come back, then we can do it. So I sat there and I was like, if God forbid something happened to me, they're not going to help me. They're not going to help me.
Wow.
It's crazy. And getting the thing undone, they don't know the difficulties that the girls go through. Getting that procedure undone, it require if the girl is not married, require her parents' consent. So if I didn't go through that in 2020, which is allowing me medical things happen, and the doctor say this needs to happen immediately, they discuss it with my mom and my dad and so forth. And I said, I don't care, it's my body. And they had to get it undone, they had to reverse it, they had to get it the way that God created me. But some women, the parents don't agree. They don't agree at all. It's just because of the reason. We're saving you for your husband. We want you to be pure, the purity. You want to see that, blood when you actually get married and live with your husband. That's exactly the mindset that goes through some of the mothers. But the thing is, they have been taught that from another different generation. So this is generation, I call it generation curse, basically. That's why I call it generation curse. It continues over the years. Unless there is awareness, there is something being done, nothing will change.
Generational curse from one generation to the other. Wow. You mentioned that you had the procedure reversed in 2020. Did you have to go back home and have it done? And how many hours did that have to take, that procedure to be done? And in terms of healing, how long did it take for you to heal after that procedure had to be undone?
To be honest, at that time, it was a very critical time for me. From the second year, I remember 2018, 2019, and then especially 2019 was a very difficult, and 2020. 2019 is when my big sister was she got ill. She got really ill, and then I was in the second year of university. And in 2019, we had the pandemic, and I started feeling the pain before I left. In end of 2019, beginning of 20, they lift the thing was called the lockdown a little bit in some places, so they allow people who have emergency thing to go. So we stated we had an emergency and we tell them everything. So they allow us to go. Only me and my mom, we went. And that's when it got really harder. It hit me, the pain. But I wasn't quiet. And as I said to you, I become intolerable. The pain is, I was accustomed to the pain. So I didn't feel it. The only thing I did is just felt uncomfortable. I start like walking wobbly and all that, and my mom saw it. And I feel a little bit uncomfortable, not in a pain-wise, but the way I walk and so forth, because of that. So my mom noticed it. She checked. She forced me. She checked and she was shocked. She was completely shocked. She said to me, and that's what back home, I'm so grateful that this is happening back home. Before I used to have like a problem, pain with the like, period and so forth in here, but I used to always use like painkillers. That's all I used to take, painkillers. But when I went back and this thing got like a very uncomfortable, and not even in a pain wise, because my body numbed when it comes to the pain, as I mentioned. They had to undergo that procedure. So it took, because to remove the lump or whatever is being, accumulated, that blood that been accumulated in the side, they need to remove it. And that by itself, it took us like 2 hours, 3 hours or so. 3 hours, 4 hours and a half. And then they had to redo the things, basically provide the surgery to make sure that down there it looks good, because it was messed up. It's absolutely messed up. So they had to redone, the thing. And it took me about another 3 hours to get that done. The lady, I'm so grateful. The doctor that I was in back home, she was really skilled, and she really done it she say, all this I done it in 7 hours. If you went to go in a different, or any other doctor will come, it might take longer than that. So I was so grateful to her. And she wrote a statement for me. She said, just in case if you want to take the lady or the cutter who actually done this on you to court. And I said, it's been such a long time. I don't even know where is she right now. I don't even know what she look like. But that is the procedure. In the UK, there is clinics. They do this. They are private clinic, which is you have to pay for it to get it undone. And that's what my friend did. Back then, her husband took her to this private clinic. There is one in Bristol, one in Birmingham, I think in London as well, but we don't have in Wales. Wales, they don't have the thing. So they have to travel to England to get it. Yeah, to get it. And it may take longer as well because of the waiting list. So they have to wait for quite some time. But when you go back home, if you want, say, I wanted to get it undone without having a medical thing, I will require a consent from my parents itself to say that it's okay for me to go, because I am single. I'm not married. So if I was married, I would have had that consent from my husband. So they won't take my word as it is, that's the other thing that really frustrates me. They think the woman is incapable of taking or making decisions. So it's crazy. Even to take a passport there, you need a consent of your in my country, you need the consent of the parent, at least your father.
Really?
Yeah, and if their father's not there, her brother and her cousin can go.
Oh my God. So do you have female judges or female lawyers in your country?
There is, but it's very rare. It's all men. It's very rare. It's all men.
Oh dear.
It's all men.
Gosh.
I know.
There are some issues. Thinking issues that you prefer to work with a female lawyer. For example, in the cases of rape victims, I'm sure they'll be more comfortable dealing with a female than a male. But it seems like
there is lawyers, but the judges is very slim. There is, but not a lot. Not a lot. But the lawyers, there is a female lawyers for sure. Like a lot of female lawyers there. The reason the people wanna be a judge, that's when they say, okay, we don't have, that's what things are like as well, because women now start thinking in a long distance, like, okay, today I started as a lawyer, I'm going to progress until I become, a judge, maybe one day, who knows. But there are a lot of female lawyers and women, they do actually go and talk to them if there is anything wrong. And they don't take no for an answer. Like they stand like toe to toe, face to face, with a man. Like they don't take a no for answer. So they fight to the core. They still downgrading them. They still thinking, oh, the knowledge is not enough. Who do you think you are? You're just a woman. But at the end of the day, they are fighting to get the place, in a careers that is all like male dominated.
Right. Okay.
Oh, that.
Oh my days. Right, Howaida. Let's talk about healing now. You have shared with us what happened to you at age 7, the trauma that you carried. So let's start talking about the healing process, because I want to believe that you are now at that stage of your life whereby you are healed or almost healed. I don't know how you can describe that. What played a role in your healing process?
Oh, that's the good thing. So, first of all, I didn't know the FGM is in Europe is prohibited. I don't even know what the word is. So, I remember in school, I had one teacher who was having a normal conversation, and then I brought up the FGM. She looked at me as like shocked, and she asked me more questions. And I answered her. She said, are you kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me that this has really happened to you? I said, yeah, that is normal because that's how we actually grew up. And then she started crying. She broke down crying. She said, I'm so sorry that this has happened to you and you had to go through this. And I was like, what's wrong with this lady? Like, what's wrong with this lady? Then she went and spoke to her teacher and so forth. They end up bringing a survivor who's an activist that ran away from her house because she refused to have that procedure done on her. And now she is like an activist. She sat down, she talked to me through it, and she said to me, this is illegal in Europe. We don't do this in Europe. And it is something that your parent can really be punished severely. And I said, really? Like, I was really, because in my culture, that is normal. Like, nobody cared. Nobody, like, really, really cared. So from there, that's when my curiosity started for me to ask questions like why this happened, why you do it. And since I started that conversation with my mother, particularly, not my father, that conversation helped me understand. And I started opening up and I started sharing with my friends that this has happened. I started talking to teachers about this, and they found it like it's a very fascinating and interesting story to listen to every week. Like someone like randomly teachers just talking to me about it. That's helped me open up. And as soon as I opened up about it, something within me changed. I felt like a heavy weight heavy weight is being lifted out of my shoulder. Yes, I wasn't healed properly. I didn't even know what trauma is, because at that time I was still traumatized. I still, going through like a nightmare, because one of the things that can affect a survivor is rewinding that moment in their head 24/7. And that's what really happened to me. It became like a movie in my head, thinking about it every single day so I moved on until that 2020, when I had, the surgery. And then I also lost my sister, who was ill. And I came back to UK in 2020. I met people that changed me. So they opened. Not only I spoke with this topic in depth.
Yeah.
Because before I even in school, when I just share like a glimpse a little bit, not a lot, because I was afraid of a shame. And that is one of the thing that the survivor really think about, the shame, or carry is a shame, or shame is a shame for you to speak about this topic. It's a shame for you to share this with people. It's supposed to be private. It's supposed to be closed thing. I say, hang on, you just celebrated it. Like, you invite people in a feast. How is that is private? It's not being private. It's not private. So after that, fast forward, I spoke to these people, start putting me like into personal development things, about self-love, self-healing and all that. So I start talking. And when I went to college, there was like a counselor there as well. So I took the opportunity to speak to the counselors, and they helped me out in a way. So I took my own healing, in my hand, and I said, I have to change, because I can't live this way. I can't live like a dull, mummy person that have no emotions, nothing at all. So I started, through the healing, the first of all, what I did is I started forgiving. So I started that journey of forgiveness. So because of the anger that was inside me, the resentment that inside me, there is so much rage was inside me. So I start telling, okay, that's it. I forgive them. I start the self-love. I start repeating affirmations, which is worked at the time. And I start just talking positive to myself, even when I'm washing dishes, I'm cooking, or I'm walking down on the road. I tell myself, you matter, you're important, you're loved, and all those type of things, because I guess I wanted to hear myself saying that, rather than people saying it to me. So I before I used to seek validation. I want a validation. I want to belong, and I start seeking that internally. And that's the thing. Like, when it comes to survivor, it is a battle. It's in a battle that the survivor constantly go through, unless they start the journey of healing, because they carry that shame, they carry that, doubt, lack of confidence, lack of love. So connecting with that inner child, because I also did that. I connected with my inner child. And when I did that, automatically with the healing, my personality started to become like that, that child. So before I had the MGM, I started cheering up again. I started, having that energy again, smiling. So it was a long journey. I'm still healing. I'm not going to say completely healed. I'm still healing, but I'm in a way better position right now than before. Now, all I can think is, how can I serve others from that point, or from that, place of love.
Wow. So from the procedure, you started connecting with your inner child. So it's like it was a continuation from age 7
Yeah. I had to like speak to that child, like, I'm sorry that you went through, I apologize. It's not something that you had to go through, and it's not in your hands. It's not you feel shame, you feel doubt, you are loved, you are valued, and I love you so much. So I start talking to my inner child as like a person in front of me, and that's what really helped me. And that's why connecting with that child that they have missed is very important. It's very important because they need to have a peace with that child, because that child is hurt. That child, that innocent child, it hurts so bad. They lost the trust. They lost the trust of people. They trusted the elders. They trusted people that they love. And those people that they actually love hurt that child. So reconnecting with that child, it can take a lot of time, especially if there's resistance. When it comes to like resistance, I don't want that, what my family will say, or the shame, doubts, and all the negative thoughts that keep and coming into the head. But making peace of the past. What happened is not their fault. Even I had to like forgive my mom as well, and all that. Like I said, I forgive them. I know if they know the best, they will do the best, but they never knew the best, and they never knew this will harm us to the point where we can become emotionally unstable. So that's, so forgiving, loving, connecting is all a part of a healing, and surround as well myself with a positive people, with absolutely positive people, that all I can hear is just positivity, and that's what really boosts my healing and make me even go to a different level of healing. So yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing your healing process and giving us a visual picture of what that looked like. You speaking, having to talk to your inner child, to that child who went through that procedure at age 7, asking for forgiveness and building some self-love for yourself, and you telling yourself that you're loved and all these things. So thank you for sharing that, the practical ways in which you had to get to where you are today, and the practical ways in which you had to rebuild yourself. Because I'm sure there's someone watching this, a whole lot of people watching this, who have gone through this, who have gone through all these things, and they are still going through the trauma. They're still trying to find themselves out of this trauma and still trying to reconnect with that child that they lost. So thank you so much for sharing that. And before we round off, I know that you are a life coach.
Yeah.
How do you currently support women who have experienced this whole thing that we've been talking about?
It's a whole process, because there is a resistance. Some people willing to heal, they want to heal, they have that willingness, and some people they're resistant. So when it comes to survivor, all they need is that love, is that reassurance. Assure them they are okay, to feel what they feel. They are absolutely all right to go through, that emotional roller coaster, and their emotions are valid. Also providing that safe space, because since they have that procedure done internally, it doesn't matter, like externally they don't show it, but internally they always feel unsafe. So when I talk to them in a way, that child that felt unsafe, that child that needed love but couldn't find it, that child that needed support, that child that shouted help internally, but they couldn't find it. So connecting them with their inner child. That is a journey, and it's starting with willingness, it's starting with creating a safe space, because they didn't have that safe space growing up. It doesn't necessarily, yes, they live with their family, but that does not mean they feel safe. You know, it's the difference between being in a safe environment and feel safe within you. It's completely different.
Absolutely, it is different. So I'd like you, Howaida, to speak to one person. I'd like you to speak to that one person who is struggling to love themselves. They've lost their self-worth. They feel disconnected from themselves. They're disconnected from their worth. They're disconnected from their value. What would you gently tell them today?
The only thing I say to myself, I will say it to that person, is don't give up on yourself. It'll come time that you will feel absolutely drained. You will feel, that you can't keep going. I know the journey of healing is not an easy journey, especially if you are an FGM survivor. It can take, it's like an emotional roller coaster, up and down, up and down, up and down. Sometimes you may want it to give up. Sometimes you may want to disappear, and to some point may come, you might even don't want to live anymore. Keep going, keep living, and start that self-love, be gentle with yourself. And I know as a survivor, having that self-compassion, I know we grow up with, we don't even have it. What is it? But I think having that self-compassion can really help. Also, finding one person that you trust, that you can share your story with them, because sometimes all a survivor may need is someone to listen.
Right.
That's all, just someone to listen to them. And that is the way of them starting, to heal or open up that door of healing. Just listen to me. Just be there. Don't tell me it's a cultural thing, because most of the time, some people, they ask the wrong questions. Instead of saying, I'm here, I'm sorry that this has happened to you. I'm here if you need anything. Because I've seen this happen, even the police did this. But they need reassurance. They need comfort. They need self-love. Sometimes they don't have that. So they have to give it. So if they have a friend, normally they start seeking that love from that friend, from that family member, because they want to hear it. They want to hear that they matter. They want to hear that they're loved. They want to hear that what they've gone through, it matters, and it can be healed. You can heal, which is absolutely you can heal. Healing will take time. Don't be hard. Be gentle with yourself, and take as much as time as possible for your healing, because healing is not a competition. Especially when it comes to a surviving thing, it might take years and years, to heal. But it's absolutely a long journey. But be gentle. That's why I said so to yourself. Be gentle with yourself, because you deserve all the love, all the value, all the self-compassion in the world.
Thank you, Howaida. I'm sure you've heard it for yourself. Be gentle on yourself. You deserve all the love, the validation. You're worthy. You've heard it for yourself. So, Howaida, before we sign off, if you can just let my audience know where they can find you, because I'm sure there are a lot of people who are going to watch this and they would like to know where they can find you and how you are currently helping other women maneuver this type of trauma or experience?
Thank you very much, Sandy. I'm in social media, Instagram at Howaida756 and Facebook Howaida Abdalla. I'm in LinkedIn as well, same name, Howaida Abdalla. Is all through my social media. You can see pictures there. Is there right there. And helping women, I do like maybe one-to-one coaching with them. I do other like things. I go like also through like podcasts. I have also been like speaking like in a public speaking, sharing this information, helping workshop, planning to do a workshop for survivors in the coming weeks. So I'm working on it at the moment. I'm working on a book at the moment.
Right.
It's almost finished. So it'll also come out at some point of this year. There is a lot of work that is going on right now when it comes to survivor. So yeah, if they want to find more, they can just go to my social media to find more information.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you taking your time out of your busy schedule to come here and share your story and to just help other women who are living that same traumatic experience. So thank you so much. And thank you so much for being honest and being courageous, because it definitely takes a lot to be able to come out and use your voice and help other women in that position. Because there might be a lot of other women out there, they don't have a voice, they don't have the platform, they don't even have anybody to talk to about their story, who they believe will be empathetic with their story. So thank you so much for creating that space, creating that platform to help other women. And your journey is a powerful reminder that no matter what somebody has been through, healing is possible. And we have seen it through your story. It wasn't a one-day thing, but it was a process. You allowed the process to happen, and the healing started taking place. And the other thing that I liked about your story is your story didn't end in pain. You were able to eventually reverse what you went through in 2020. You went and reversed the whole thing. So it ends with hope. Yes, the healing is still healing in process, but there is hope, and you are no longer at that same place that you were in. So thank you for sharing your story. Anyone who's watched this conversation and you want to know where you can find Howaida, I'm going to share her details in the comment section. So be on the lookout in the comment section. And if you're currently struggling, you are struggling with your worth, you don't feel like you are worthy, you're struggling with your identity, you are struggling with healing, I want you to remember this. Howaida touched on this. So I want you to remember, I'm just going to say this as a reminder. I want to remind you that even if nobody else has told you this, we are telling you this today, that you are worthy. You are valid, you are valued, and you are deeply loved. It's a matter of you searching within and start giving yourself that self-love. Talk to that young child that faced that trauma. Talk to them, just like Howaida did. She spoke to that young child. She had to apologize to that young child. And she had to continue declaring and speaking things to herself that I'm loved, I'm worthy, I'm valued. So that is the process that you need to put yourself on. You need to start speaking these things. It's not going to be easy, but once you start saying it with your own mouth, your mind will start to believe it, and everything else will start to align. And before we check out, before we leave, I want to share a scripture. I want to share a verse today, and that comes from Psalms 139, verse 14. And it says, I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. So this is just a reminder that you are wonderfully made. You are beautiful. So I hope you take this verse with you as it connects beautifully with Howaida's story. And if you've enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to share it with someone who needs to hear this. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss out on any of the conversations that we will be having in this place. So for now, we are checking out, and stay blessed and do take care. Thank you so much for joining us right to the end. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.